Hello everyone and welcome to the AOR F1 2013 Season 8 Monaco Grand Prix. It's round 6 and it's probably one of the trickiest tracks on the calendar. A lot of drivers are not looking forward to it. I know one person that doesn't like Monaco very much and he is sitting beside me in the commentary box. I'm Matthew Gallagher and it is Justin.
Hey Matty, how you doing? Yeah, not an easy track to drive. Certainly, it can be very difficult, but I'm really looking forward to it, especially after the spectacle of the Spain Grand Prix, the Spanish Grand Prix. What a race that was. This should be a good one.
It was absolutely epic, and hopefully Monaco does not disappoint. Having a look at the Season 6 podium, as we didn't race last season due to ghost cars, Noble299 took the victory from Big Shot Player in second, and Fisi Fan getting himself onto the podium in third. The Season 6 pole position went to Noble with a 1:11.3. Let's see how different it is on this game for F1 2013 with the qualifying comparison.
In this Qualy comparison, we have Exeter and FishyFan91 heading around the streets of Monaco. Braking hard towards turn 1, Sander Vogt in third gear. Be careful of the left-hand wall on the exit. Using a bit of curves as he head up the hill now in 7th gear towards Massenet. Down into 4th, 110 miles an hour, sweeping out. And then Casino Square, the right-hander. Exeter actually bounces off the wall a little bit there, but despite that, he has around a half-tenth advantage on Fishy as we head through Mirabeau in first gear. And now the Grand Hotel hairpin, the slowest corner we go to on the calendar, just 30 miles an hour. Next up, two right-handers, 90 degrees in first gear. Get as little wheel spin as he can, as he wants as much speed as he can to carry through into the tunnel, using the rest of your curse tank up into 7th gear. The apex on the right-hand side. Get on the right-hand side now. As the track goes downhill for the Novell chicane, left, right, left, being careful of the left-hand wall there on the exit, and now heading towards to back. There's a bump on the apex, very easy to get it wrong now as he entered the swimming pool, and as we cross sector 2, Exeter's extended his lead to around a 10th and a half on Fishy Fan as we come through the second half of the swimming pool, and now Razkas, the double apex right-hander in first gear, being careful not to spin the wheels too much as he head through the final corner in first gear, hugging that left-hand wall, now opening the taps with the RS, and on this lap, Exeter with a 1:10.1, a quarter of a second ahead of Fishy Fan 91. But on pole, TRL Rosberg with a 1:09.6, the only man in the 1:09s, half a tenth ahead of the rest of the field, his 4th pole position of the season. Now let me hand you back to Matty and Justin to run you through the rest of the grid.
Thank you, Andre, for the qualifying comparison. So it is TRL Rosberg who gets his second pole position running with a staggering 1:09.650, over half a second faster than Exeter, who gets a fantastic start to his weekend, starting on the front row. xMattyG was not far off X this time and starts third ahead of Fisi, who seems to be going well around this track. Brochek in the Marussia qualifies an impressive 5th, while the other Red Bull of Limitless could only manage 6th after qualifying over 3/10 slower than Matty. The Continent starts in the top half of the field for Caterham, and Ricky C in the Mercedes finishes row 4. KPTK in the second Williams is looking to continue his run of good points finishes in Bahrain and Spain, and starts just ahead of Leobot in the Toro Rosso. Row 6 has the other Toro Rosso of Powerpuff, who starts on the prime tires, same for Citizen in the Sauber to his left. Bringing up the rear is TRL Minty in the Ferrari and Trace in the other Caterham, while TRL Maisie and Randy McScrandy were absent from the grid. And now for the Monaco Grand Prix.
It's race time. It's the Monaco Grand Prix. It's xMattyG and FakeGhostPirate commentating for you today. No rain for the Monaco Grand Prix, which is a shame, but then again, there's enough challenges awaiting the drivers. Wouldn't you agree, Justin?
Absolutely. Just about every corner on this track is a challenge. Throwing rain into the mix, that would be utter chaos. I'm not sure how many cars would finish.
Probably about 3. But anyway, we've got Rosberg on pole position, Exeter a brilliant second place on the grid, and we have the lights coming on now. We've got 4, now we've got 5. It's lights out and away we go for the Monaco Grand Prix. Exeter going extremely defensive on the inside. Matty, you're getting a better run towards turn 1 and Sander Vogt, and it looks like Exeter's just about managed to stay ahead, and Matty maintaining 3rd position now, back down to Citizen, and it looks like all the drivers have got through turn 1 safely, which is a relief because obviously it is Monaco and it's very tight indeed, as Limitless down in 7th place is finding it very hard actually. He's lost a couple of spots from off the grid, so that he must have been very tentative into turn 1. And Matty right behind Exeter now. And, you know, Monaco is a very difficult track to overtake as KPTK's gone very wide into the hairpin. But he's just about managed to keep 9th place, I'm pretty sure. But wow, he was close to the wall there and probably could have lost his front wing if he wasn't careful. But Rosberg looking very strong from qualifying. But at the moment, Exeter's still keeping him honest.
Yep, absolutely. The gap is not very big between them. Of course, we're only 2 sectors into the lap so far. And actually, it does seem to have pulled out a little bit as we're going into Sector 3 now, into the swimming pool area. But yeah, as you said, it looks like Limitless lost a position or possibly 2 at the start of the race. And but this is a very long race, 39 laps. And there's lots of time left, so I'm sure he'll be moving up. And whoa, as we've already got a Toro Rosso off in the wall. Who was that?
I think that was TRL Minty in the wall and lost his front wing already. That is a disaster for him. The guy who finished second in the first race of the season is in the wall, and he's going to have to change his front wing. As you can see on the minimap, there is a car lagging behind, and we now have a replay of the start from xMattyG's point of view. So you can see the Red Bull getting a slightly better run than Exeter into turn 1, but really not very confident on the brakes, cutting turn 1 slightly and then leaving Exeter to continue into 2nd place. And now Fisi in the Williams having a look at the 2 ahead, and Fisi getting a terrible launch, and that's where Brochek just steams up the inside and takes 4th position. And he always came under pressure from Ricky, who had a great start. He started 8th, and look at that, round the outside of 2 cars. Take a bow, Ricky. Honestly, that was brilliant. So confident on the brakes. Just absolutely did. Jesus, KPTK up the inside. Slightly more reckless and not actually gaining any positions. But wow, Ricky C. I mean, it's not one of the most, I'd say, high-speed manoeuvres, but that's got to be one of the overtakes of the season, surely.
Absolutely, that was fantastic stuff, and we can see now why Limitless lost that position at the start, and that's because Ricky C is just absolutely flying. Did a great job around the outside of turn 1. As we get that replay, we see KPTK did get a little bit of a nudge into that barrier, thankfully not losing anything. As Citizen now having a look at the Ferrari of Minty, and it looks like he's going to get him as he's going to have the inside line for turn 1 there.
So Minty's carried on by the looks of the things, meaning he didn't lose his entire front wing. So that's an interesting thing to see. So maybe he only lost a part of it, or maybe an end plate, or maybe both, because it looked like there was quite a lot of debris down in that corner. But I mean, I'm guessing he's all right to carry on, otherwise he would have dived into the pits. But anyway, moving back to the action with Exeter in 2nd place still, and he loses an end plate. That is not going to help his race at all, because there's a lot of cars behind him, and it's an extra 2 seconds or so to change a front wing compared to a normal pit stop, meaning that he'll lose quite a few positions if they stay as they are towards the first round of pit stops, with Matty sitting in 3rd and Brochek sitting pretty good in 4th position at the moment. So he's doing pretty well in the Marush at the moment, and Exeter coming towards turn 1 now, locking up his front right, and he's dashed his front now. So that's that's Exeter in the wall, and it doesn't look like he's moving very quickly at all. He's down to 9th, maybe 10th, 10th position now, and I'm actually hearing that he's having some technical difficulties with his wheel as Brochek now loses an end plate. There's blooming debris everywhere at the moment.
Absolutely. This is, I mean, we're only 3 laps, we're not even 3 laps in, we're only on the 3rd lap of the race, and already we're seeing so many positions changing at a track where it's very difficult to pass. I mean, this is really impressive stuff here, and a bit unfortunate, certainly, for Brochek and Exeter, as, Exeter clearly having some serious technical problems, as he has come to just about a dead stop coming out of the hotel hairpin there.
Yeah, you can see there he's really struggling with his wheel. I think he's lost force feedback in his wheel, which is a terrible shame because, he was running up in 2nd place, and I'm sure those issues were starting to set in, and that's the reason why he had that incident into turn 1. But as you can see on the mini-map, Rosberg, who we don't have a point of view for, unfortunately, is absolutely steaming away out in front, which is no surprise considering the sort of practice times that he was doing before the race. And a lot of drivers expected him to be winning, and to be fair, they expected Fisi to be up there in 2nd place probably. But here we go, here's making one move onto the podium at the moment. Fisi locking up slightly, but managing to get into turn 1 fine and going up into a podium position just like he did in season 6 as Exeter retires from the race, which that's pretty much him done and dusted with those wheel issues. You really can't be having any sort of issues when you're racing around Monaco.
No, the worst track. Absolutely, this is the worst track. I mean, I think you're turning the wheel for 90% of the lap. It's absolutely crazy. So yeah, certainly that's going to lead to a retirement for sure. But great job from Fisi there. Fantastic move. He locked both fronts and still made the move at the inside of turn 1. He is definitely charging through.
As we now have Ricky making a move on Brochek. They're side by side coming out of the tunnel. Who's going to come out on top? Ricky, very confident on the brakes. Brochek definitely not confident on the brakes as he locks up both of his front tyres, and surely that means that Ricky C should be able to get that place, because, I mean, I don't know. It's so close. Ricky's trying to squeeze through. Now Limitless is coming up the inside, and there's contact everywhere. Brochek's gone over the chicane. So's Ricky, and Limitless looking like he caused the collision as he goes up the inside and almost loses his rear wheel on the barrier. There's absolute carnage going on at the moment. Drivers steaming up the inside of each other, and I don't know how anyone has not destroyed their vehicle with some of those moves. And would have brought out a safety car as well, probably. And this is the replay of Exeter. But Jesus, there was cars galore at the moment going up the inside and locking up and crashing into each other. It's probably borderline on the rules, would you say, Justin?
Yeah, it certainly. Yeah, and I think just watching that replay of Exeter, I think Leobot lost a little bit of his front wing. The car appeared ghosted for just about everybody, but I think Leobot... oh, no! Who was that we just lost connection to?
That was Exeter, in fact.
Oh, that was Exeter leaving. Okay. Thank gosh he was able to at least get out of there so there wasn't any sort of safety car. And there's this beautiful replay of Fisi at the inside of Sandoval, just making that beautiful move in the Williams. That was fantastic stuff. And here's Brochek's epic lockup into the chicane there. Wow. I mean, he just went straight on for about 50 meters.
Brochek carries on in 4th position. I'm guessing it's similar to the real-life kind of Hamilton-Rosberg incidents, really, where there's a straight line on the chicane. But I don't know. But I mean, Ricky, he was on the outside, so I guess he couldn't really claim the corner. So Brochek carries on. It'll be interesting to see if the stewards have anything to say about it. And we've got deja vu now, as Ricky and Brochek they're not quite side by side, but Ricky very close to. And he's going to go up the inside here. Can he make this one stick? Oh, he's clipped the wall, but managed to make that stick.
Wow.
Ricky up into 4th position, and Brochek absolutely stunned, probably. Obviously not helping that he's got an end plate missing, and that's probably why Ricky got a run through the tunnel off that right-hander before it. But Limitless taking the bollard with him there. And is he going to go up the inside there? Surely not, because he saw what happened. Well, he experienced it with Ricky as Brochek dives into the pits. But Limitless experienced that same move with Ricky, and it didn't pay off. So he stays behind him, but Brochek goes into the pits anyway to get a new fresh front wing and a fresh set of tyres as well, as Rosberg sets the fastest lap of a 12.7. So his tyres aren't going off particularly fast, as Brochek's fastest lap is a 14 flat, which really kind of shows how quick Rosberg is going at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. He's certainly flying right out. I mean, he's got the clean air, and he's taking advantage of it, and that's exactly what you really need to do at Monaco. I mean, the dirty air effect can be really horrible around here, and he's making good use of that clean air and pulling out ahead. And great job from Ricky C. He had a really, really tough race in Spain, so it's really good to see him attacking and gaining positions here in Monaco.
I bet he's glad that there's not going to be any wet weather conditions, so that he doesn't go and accidentally change onto the primes when it's completely hammering it down. So there's not going to be a repeat of that, but hopefully he won't put on a wrong set of tyres or something. But he's looking pretty strong at the moment in 4th position. And you've got Matty out in 2nd, just kind of running his own race at the moment. 3.2 seconds ahead of Fisi. You have to say, Fissi's probably, every single season, Fissi's like one of the favourites to at least get on the podium or challenge for the win, as he almost loses an end plate there. But I mean, with Rosberg setting some blistering pace out in front. And, I'd have to say Fisi must be the favourite to catch Matty, who's not got the pace really off Fisi, looking at sort of practice times and things like that, as Citizens going defensive on Minty as they come down the pit straight. But here we go, we're on board with Fisi at the moment, and you can see his tyres not too bad as he now loses an end plate. And that could have easily been the whole front wing. So I guess he'll be counting his lucky stars in some ways, but also not in others. Because you can get away with that sometimes if you hit the wall and you can just scrape it and not actually get any damage, as we've seen a few times already this race. But Fisi losing an end plate, which means he's going to lose 2 seconds in the pit stop and probably about 3 to 4 tenths each lap as well. So that's not going to help his race at all, and his quest to catch Matty for 2nd place. And it may well put him under pressure from Ricky in 4th.
I wonder if he's going to be forced to change his strategy as a result of that. You probably have a little bit more insight into what sort of strategies people are going to be running 2 or 3 stop, but I wonder if we might see Fisi pit a little bit earlier than he was maybe planning, just so that he can get that wing swapped out as soon as he can.
Yeah, as I kind of picked up and then changed the subject, yeah, the Super Softs are supposed to go quite a fair way into this race, and it may well be up to about lap 10, and I think it will be a 3-stop strategy, but the option's going very far indeed, so we could see some alternative strategies depending on how the drivers feel on the options compared to the primes, because some people, as you can see here, Citizen preferring the primes for this stint of the race, as he's, well, I think, did he start on primes? I'm not sure.
He did. He and Powerpuff both started on the primes.
Yeah, so he started on the primes, and he's sitting in 8th position at the moment, and you can see how far he's behind, actually, so maybe the primes really aren't showing some good pace, so that may well force a few drivers onto 2 sets of options throughout the race, but we will see as we're coming up to the first round of pit stops soon, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Fisi dive into the pits this lap. We shall see. No, he carries on, in fact. Limitless goes into the pits, though. He's having quite a quiet race, you'd have to say, is Limitless, you know, considering he's one of the guys challenging for the championship, but he's sitting in 5th place at the moment. He's just gone on to, is that another set of fresh options? I think it is, actually, and I'm not sure if he meant to do that. We shall see if we get on board with him. Yes, he is on the Super Softs.
Yep.
And I think the ideal strategy is to go onto the primes and use just the primes, because it's a little bit more durable and you can have a bit more, you know, kind of more laps to work with. Whereas the options, you know, once you hit that cliff, then you're going to be, you know, it's kind of skirting with the wall. So Limitless going on to another fresh set of options, which is going to, well, he's going to have a lot of pace. But as you can see, as he hits Broshek almost, but he's going to have to negotiate the traffic.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's not easy here in Monaco. In fact, it's probably the hardest track on the entire calendar to do it.
It is indeed, as we now have Ricky on those options already, but he hasn't pitted yet, as we are on lap 10 now. So it's very interesting to see how far the options actually go, as Broshek looks like he's lining up a pass on Powerpuff, and Limitless is watching from behind, and all the while, you know, he's on fresh options at the moment, and he really isn't getting the benefit of it, as he's having to sit behind 2 guys that haven't pit yet. And, well, actually, no, Broshek will have pitted. No, he pitted on lap 6 or something. So Broshek on slightly worn tyres is being held up by Powerpuff, and this just is ruining Limitless's race, to be honest, because the guys who are kind of stretching their stint further will then have fresher tyres and won't have lost much time as well once they've pitted, as KPTK and Rosberg are coming out side by side. So Rosberg has pitted and gone on to the prime tyres by the looks of things, and he's fed out just behind KPTK. So, well, he had a huge lead anyway, but it'll be interesting to see how quickly Rosberg negotiates the traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to go back to Limitless here, he's going to have a really hard time passing. Oh, no, maybe he's not going to have a hard time passing Brochek, as they're going side by side here, and it looks like he's got him. I was going to say he's going to have a hard time because Brochek's getting the DRS off of Powerpuff, but Limitless says, screw your commentator's curse, and just takes him in the corners. Man, what an overtake, and he takes Powerpuff at the hairpin. He charges right through 2 cars in the space of maybe 3 corners. That was absolutely fantastic from Limitless.
Limitless showing that it isn't impossible to overtake round Monaco, as we now have what is the current race leader, but net second place, MattyG, coming into the pits, and Fisi as well. And that's interesting to see how worn Matty's tyres were compared to Fisi there on the graphic, as Matty gets held up by about a second, and as you can see, slightly raging in the game chat, but he had to wait for Fisi, in fact, I think. But Fisi's going to have to change his front wing, as I mentioned earlier, so that's going to cause him possibly to lose a position to Ricky C. It does indeed, as Ricky now comes out of the pits. Fisi has a 6.8 second pit stop, and I'm sure he is going to be cursing in the cockpit, as well as Citizen locks up into the wall, loses his front wing, and that is his race ruined, as he will now be stuck in turn 1 as Broshek now hits Powerpuff, and Powerpuff's gone into Citizen. Oh no, Broshek has literally, well, I'm pretty sure that's a lag bubble if I'm not mistaken, and he's pushed Powerpuff into Citizen and carried on by the looks of things.
Yeah, and Powerpuff is, I mean, he had to turn around at turn 1 there, so big loss for him. He's probably lost somewhere in the tune to 5 to 10 seconds because of that spin. So that is very unfortunate incident there involving 2 cars at turn 1. That was really rough.
So as KPTK losing the back end through that chicane there and letting Rosberg through. It looked like KPTK was actually trying to defend the lead there, as we now have a replay of, gosh, wow, Limitless was very aggressive on the overtake and hitting Broshek's side pod there, but I mean, I guess he had to kind of make the room, and this pass was brilliant, and I'm not sure why Powerpuff left so much room for Limitless to just dive down into the inside, but he made the move, sticking Limitless up into 7th place, and it will now be 6th after Citizen making this mistake into turn 1. A very tricky braking zone, and this is where Powerpuff then comes in as well, and I'm not sure why Citizen got a penalty, but yeah, I mean, that's surely a stonewall penalty if Brochek hasn't wait for Powerpuff there.
Yeah, I think you might be right there. That's a very, very tricky situation, and it's situations like these where I'm glad I'm not the stewards to have to make those tough decisions.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to be ruining people's races, but at the same time, Brochek looking like he definitely gave Powerpuff a nudge into turn 1, and then, you know, if Powerpuff got away with it and just carried on up the hill, then fair enough. But I mean, the fact that he was around, you know, it kind of showed that, you know, Brochek had something to do with that. But anyway, with Fisi now, as he's on those prime tyres, and KPTK coming out on some fresh options. So there you go, alternative strategy. He was on options. He now goes for another fresh set of options, and maybe, well, he'd have to go on primes at the end, but that's yeah, pretty much it. As now Citizen comes into the pits as he lost his front wing, and here we go, Fizzy Fan going round the tightest, well, I'm pretty sure it's one of the tightest corners on the calendar, and one of the, well, it's the slowest, I'm pretty sure, and not very good for pad players, I've heard.
Yeah, I can only imagine how difficult that corner is. Yeah, it is the tightest corner on the calendar. I don't know if it's the narrowest as well, but it's certainly very narrow. Not a normal passing location. Some F1 drivers have made it work in the past, but certainly very difficult. And yeah, we're seeing certainly more action there than you would have expected.
So I'm on board with Matty now in second place, having a very quiet race at the moment. 5.4 behind Rosberg, 5.4 ahead of Limitless, who's up to third now after pitting early. So Limitless has got a massive undercut, but that also means with his super soft tyres that he may well have to pit. Well, I think he can't have wanted to put on the option tyres. That wasn't very good English, but anyway, he must have wanted to go on the primes, because he pitted on like lap 6 or 7, and going on the options again, that's going to mean 2 huge stints on the primes as Brochek loses the back end, and that's going to put him under pressure from Contadins, is it? It is indeed. They go side by side through the penultimate corner, and Brochek wants to go in the pits, and then Leobot makes contact with him, and wow, gosh, I'm pretty sure that was a racing incident, but Brochek losing his front wing, and now is he going to get it replaced? Because I know there's this random glitch that you sometimes get when the front wing isn't changed, but I don't think he was in the pit lane at the time of that, so I think he'll be okay. But that was just unfortunate for him, wasn't it?
There's the wing change, thank gosh. Yeah, that was extremely unfortunate, as he's got a 5.6 second pit stop and drives very angrily towards the pit wall there. That was quite something. But yeah, that is really unfortunate. We're going to get a replay here. Yeah, it looks like the bollard on the track looks like maybe it put his rear end a little bit loose, and that put him under attack from Contadins, and he's trying to get it. Yeah, and I mean, he probably should have just maybe tapped on the brakes and let Contadins go through, and then tried to turn in. Certainly Contadins had no way of knowing that he was going to be pitting that lap, and I don't think there was any sort of communication. So yeah, he maybe should have just assumed that Contadins was not pitting and played it safe.
I completely agree. I mean, he saw the arrow there, so he should have really just let off the accelerator, let him through, and then pitted. But, you know, that was his choice, and I think we had a replay there of Matty losing an end plate as well, so that's not going to help on his quest on trying to catch Rosberg, but Rosberg's out in front still at the moment, as we have Citizen now in last position with Trace just down the road, and here's KPTK in 7th place just behind Contadins, and Contadins running a pretty solid race at the moment in 6th place. I'm sure he'll be pretty happy with that, as we've had a 14-man grid, so we haven't got too many absentees, as we now have KPTK coming around the penultimate corner, and Contadins goes into the pits. KPTK carries on and hits the wall and almost loses an end plate again, but does not, so he was lucky there, as he now goes over the line for a 14.6, 1.4 seconds slower than his last lap. So slightly inconsistent, you have to say, by the Williams driver, and he's going to come under pressure from Leobot if he isn't careful. Tiro Limitless, here we go. This is the guy I was talking about. I think he is going to start struggling very much on those options. Sorry, pardon me. As he was, well, he went on lap 6 or 7, so I mean, it must be 10 or 11 laps at least he's been on them now. As he now loses his end plate, and Ricky C's now right behind him. He just saw the debris from Limitless's car, and Ricky might have a go, just like he did with Brochek, down towards this left-right. I'm not sure. Oh gosh, he's locked up slightly. I always hate to see that when a driver's behind someone else and then he locks up his fronts. That is not good. But he managed to stop the car just about, and he's right behind Limitless. And I'm pretty sure Limitless is going to come under pressure as he hits the wall. And I'm pretty sure, Justin, that he's hit the cliff.
Yeah, absolutely. He's doing surprisingly well, all things considered, though. And it looks like he's being called in for a pit stop, but he's going to ignore that. He's got some curves left. He's got the open DRS. He's lining up Limitless. Limitless has left open the inside line. He's kind of moving back over now. Nope, and he's not going to be able to get by on this occasion, certainly. But yeah, I think Ricky C is smelling blood, and he's probably going to be looking to get by as soon as possible. And he may try the same thing that Limitless was doing earlier in the race and just try and do it in the corners. Because certainly it seems very difficult for him to get by at turn 1, even with that curves and DRS. And oh, look how wide Limitless is going through the corner there at Mirabeau, just so wide. And I think it's only a matter of time now. I really do.
It is. I guess this is one of the best tracks to lose your tyres at, because there's not much room. As long as you get a good exit from the corners, there's not much room for overtaking. But Ricky is going to try and prove me wrong as he goes to the outside, just like he did with Broshek. And is Limitless going to be able to defend? No, he just about makes the corner. Ricky doesn't. And they just carry on, and Limitless actually gains a little bit of time. And now that puts Fisi right behind the Mercedes, and he might well possibly have a go as well, as Fisi is on the prime tyres. Just so is Ricky. And actually, no, Ricky's... I can't even see. My screen is so bad. But no, Ricky is on the prime tyres. So they're both on the same compound. And Fisi will want to try and get past Ricky, because essentially this is for a podium position, because Limitless surely cannot go a few more laps on those option tyres. He's going to try as he goes into turn 1 once again, and that's got to be 12 or 13 laps now, with an end plate missing as well. Limitless is now, I can't even see what that is with this terrible recording footage, but I think that's at least 8 or 9 seconds behind Matty now, and he's daring with the walls at the moment, and I'm pretty sure he is going to, as he slides through that right-hander as well, you can just see he's hit the cliff, but he's like, I'm just going to jump off the cliff.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a very brave man right here. I mean, this is a track where the corners are just begging you to hit the barrier, and he's really pushing his luck. As Ricky C is going to have a look now, he's going to the right-hand side. He's deploying all of his curves. He's been very comfortable under braking down the hill going into the chicane for most of this race, but no, he's trying to switch back. Limitless just has no grip whatsoever. He's got no curves. He's going to have to go around the outside, and I think Ricky C has done it. He just touches the barrier ever so slightly there, but man, brilliant move from Ricky C there. Absolutely wonderful.
Ricky loving his overtakes at the moment. So does Fisi as he puts his hand up the inside and dispatches of Limitless and up into 4th place. Finally, they get past. Limitless carries on for another lap as he goes around the final corner and almost goes into the wall there. So Limitless is just trying to push his strategy, and this kind of confirms the fact that he wanted to go on to primes for this stint, as he manages to just about slow the car down. But look at the gap that the 2 cars ahead have pulled out already, as we now have a replay of KPCK going into the wall and losing another end plate. So this guy just loves to lose his end plates at the moment. And this is the replay of Ricky getting past Limitless finally. Well, actually, no, this is where Limitless defended, sorry, but then Limitless was terrible traction out of this corner. And he went very wide indeed and just couldn't get on the power. And Ricky, just with the fresher rubber, just goes straight round the outside and goes up into 3rd position. And then Limitless loses the back end once again. And then Fisi takes the position. So, yeah, I was mistaken earlier with the fact it was a 3-stop. It's definitely a 2-stop. But Limitless having to, well, he would have had to go on a 3-stop if he'd actually given in to the fact he'd hit the cliff. But just look, it's Abu Dhabi last season all over again, as he just cannot control the car. And here comes Fisi's teammate, Limitless, who dispatches of him like he's not even there. So Limitless, who you would have to say was or still is one of the championship contenders, is falling all the way down the field.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is looking very, very, very difficult for him. I mean, he's got to be having I think you nailed it when you said that he probably should have switched to a 3-stop after making that mistake. I think he's losing far more positions with these super worn, super soft tires than he would have if he had just stopped an extra time.
And the thing is, as he loses back end
God.
again. Limitless is in the wall. He's having an absolute nightmare here, is the Red Bull driver, and sure, he's coming into the pits, which he can just about do, but he's still trying to force a 2-stop, and he's going on to the he's going to have to do 18 laps on these primes. So Limitless has absolutely destroyed his strategy by going onto the super softs again, and I'm pretty sure, unless Limitless does switch to a 3-stop, which it looked like he was adamant to not do, then he's going to have the same problem at the end of the race again. But at the moment, he's going to have some fresh tyres, which I'm sure he's going to feel like some sort of amazing feeling. The fact that he's actually got grip and he doesn't have to ice skate around the track, as we have 3 cars going up Beau Rivage up towards Massenet now. And that's Leobot scraping the wall slightly, and this is carnage at the moment as the Ferrari is holding up. Leobot Continents, and oh god, Ricky's gone in the wall now and lost an end plate. It's action galore. Monaco usually is just a procession, but right now people are losing wings left, right and centre, and there's trains starting to build up as well, as Fisi will now have the pace advantage surely over Ricky with the fact he's got an intact wing, and it's kind of role reversal now, so Fisi is going to come on to Ricky for the podium.
Yeah, it's really tight, pretty much across all the field, except for maybe just the top guys. But here we see Ricky C coming under attack from Fisi Fan once again. Fisi's got the DRS, couldn't get close enough to pull alongside him though. Great race from Fisi here. Ricky C for the most part has been really quick. It seems like a very good race for him. He's just now starting to make some mistakes, but I mean, can you really blame the guy after doing 22 laps of Monaco? This is not an easy track to race at, and I gotta imagine people are starting to wear down.
Yeah, 39 laps is a ridiculous amount of laps for this track because, you know, you just got to be on it. The concentration levels of these drivers are crazy. No one actually talks during the Monaco Grand Prix, and I don't blame them because what's the point? You have to try and focus not hitting the wall, as we've got a 5-car train with Limitless on the fresh tyres, and he's going to try and outdo Brochek once again up the inside. And
wow.
Limitless has, I think, lost his patience and is really starting to go for some ridiculous moves now, as Limitless now has got DRS, but Brochek will as well to defend, so I don't think he'll get close enough into turn 1. But Limitless, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for some do-or-die moves. Not that like we've seen a few already, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see a few more.
Yep, and now's the time. Now is the time when he needs to be making those moves, especially if he's going to be staying on these tires. And even if he's not going to be staying on these tires, regardless of what his strategy is from this point out, he needs to clear these cars as soon as he can.
And this is Monaco. It's not easy, as he now tries to do exactly what he did to Powerpuff, and it's not worked because Brochek's taken the normal line, and that's where Limitless just pushes Brochek all the way round the hairpin. And Matty into the pits now, changing his front wing as well, so 5.6 second pit stop there, as Rosberg probably extends his lead out in front, as Limitless finally gets past Brochek, who I think let him through there. I think he was probably scared of what Limitless was going to do next, so just thought, right, I'll get off the accelerator, as Rosberg comes out in the middle of the fight for the podium. And this is going to be interesting, because Ricky's surely not going to want to let him through, because that might give Fisi a chance to have a go. So, Rosberg's going to get held up quite a bit here. So where is Matty in all of this? Here he is, and that's not got to be that far away. I mean, Rosberg's got the superior pace, but Matty, let's have a look. We're not going to see the split time. But Ricky's going to be on all the prime. 6.6 to Fisi. I mean, 6.9 to Rosberg, and that could come down.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very possibly could come down, especially when you consider the life of Fisi's tires that we saw very briefly there. As Rosberg, it looks like, is right up on the gearbox of Ricky C at the moment, going into the chicane, and Fisi Fan definitely struggling on those tires. You can see he was not comfortable under braking for that corner.
Yeah, because Ricky, and the fact that Ricky is not going to want to let Rosberg through, because he's the buffer right now. Rosberg's sitting there. In between himself, he's sitting in between Fisi and Ricky, and that's perfect for Ricky. He'll have that all day, but he's going to come into the pits now. So Rosberg's lost. Wow, he's lost about 3 seconds because Matty was 3.9 behind Fisi through the last split. So that means, well, we might see the two leaders getting slightly close.
Yeah, absolutely, which is exactly what this race could use. I mean, it's fantastic all the way back, but I mean, up at the front, it was looking like Rosberg was just kind of running away with it, but certainly now things are looking a little bit more interesting at the tip of the spear.
Yeah, I don't think anyone expected Rosberg to be challenged by anyone apart from Fisi, who's had his kind of fair share of incidents and battling. And if he'd have been on the front row of the grid, Fisi, I reckon he probably would have been fighting up there with Matty and Rosberg. But unfortunately for him, he is, well, not unfortunately, I'm pretty sure he'll take 15 points any day of the week if he finishes third. But actually, having a look now, he's come out behind his teammate, KPTK, who went for a huge undercut. That could throw a spanner in the works as well, as KPTK is in a legitimate third place, and we're now on board with Matty in second. And is that Rosberg just down the road? I think it is.
I think it is. I think you're absolutely right about that. We're going to find out as we come through the very high-speed swimming pool section, my favorite part of the track. And look at that. Purple, 3.9 seconds behind Rosberg. This race is not over yet.
Well, we hope not, for the viewers' sake anyway, as Matty goes slightly wide and has had one of the quietest races of the season by far. And let's have a look. Is Matty going to set the fastest lap of the race? And is he going to eat into Rosberg's lead? He does slightly, and he sets the fastest lap of an 11.7. And Matty just staking his claim and going to try and attack Rosberg, which I don't think anyone saw.
Yeah, that's a psychological thing too. When your opponents see that come up on their screen, xMattyG 111.779, I mean, that has a psychological effect on the people that are behind you and ahead of you. And I mean, Rosberg's going to be seeing that, and he's going to be wondering, you know, just how much longer before I've got mirrors full of xMattyG and a Red Bull.
Well, Rosberg has the pace. It's just whether or not he has the bottle to continue setting some consistent times. It's a shame, actually, we don't have a point of view from him. Then we would be able to see if he is making any mistakes or if he's just driving normally. As Brosiek comes out of the pits, he didn't have to change a front wing that time. And he's got 12 laps. Oh, I think he could have gone on the options, you know, with 12 laps to go. But he's gone onto the primes anyway. And Fisi set a purple time now as well, cutting the chicane slightly. But he's chasing down on his teammate, 1.6 seconds now. And is Fisi going to set the fastest lap of the race? I'm sure that'll make him feel pretty good. And also make his teammates start quaking in his boots. As Limitless dives up the inside of Leobot. Puts Leobot in the wall. That's pretty much what I was saying, in the fact that as Fisi sets the fast lap at 11.5, brilliant time there. But that's what I was saying. Limitless, you know, he had to do some do or die moves, but unfortunately for him, he's put Leobot on the wall.
Yep, and he does the right thing, though. Limitless letting Leobot back through in the sister team Toro Rosso. So he did the right thing, the gentlemanly thing. That was definitely a little bit aggressive. He pretty much forced Leobot into the corner where Michael Schumacher famously parked. And I'm sure Leobot wasn't trying to be there. And he does get the position back, but certainly lots of time lost.
Oh, there's a bit of lag from Trace92 there. Not Getaways got out of the way now.
Marker.
Gone straight over the chicane as Trace, and he really should have let KPTK through probably in the tunnel, but thought it'd be safer. But then there was lag going on as well, and fortunately for KPTK, didn't have an incident as Matty comes over the line. 3.2 seconds now, so the lead is coming down. We've got enough laps in order for this to happen. So Matty eating into Rosberg's lead at the moment, and Fisi scraping with the wall and going slightly wide as well, which could have lost him a slight bit of time to his teammate, but he's got DRS, so that could get him back. But now we skip with Ricky now right behind Fisi, and it looks like it's going to be a three-way battle. Sorry, Ryan, but I'm not going to say it this time. But Ricky right behind Fisi at the moment, and KPTK is going to come back towards these guys as well, because he's on about 3 or 4 lap older tyres, and surely by the end of the race he's going to be struggling just as much as Limitless is. But Limitless is in 6th at the moment, sitting, I would say, quite happily, but it just all depends whether he can get to the end of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the big question here. And the other question for me was how soon before Fisi and KPTK have to make a decision as a team here. But it looks like Fisi is having to focus on the very fast Mercedes of Ricky C that's now all over the back of him. And that's giving KPTK a little bit of breathing room on those slightly older tires. So I'm sure he's actually not too disappointed about that.
So Rosberg replies to 11.5 as Citizen in the wall once again and loses the front wing, and that is his race just completely ruined. He was in 11th anyway, so I don't think he'll be getting any points. But I was just saying, Rosberg replying and responding to xMattyG and setting 11.5 as KPTK laps. I'm pretty sure that is Citizen. It is. He's down to 12th now as he's lost another position, but he gets out of the way very sensibly, which is good. But where's Ricky, in fact? I'm not sure. Has Ricky already gone through? I'm not sure. But anyway, he comes into the pits now to change his front wing once again. I'm guessing it's going to be around a 5.6 second pit stop. No, 5.5. They had to prove me wrong, didn't they? Well done. So Ricky C is still right behind Fisi, in fact, so that must have been him that was behind. So well, we're on lap 31 now, and it's looking like it's going to be pretty good. I mean, KPTK's tyres looking pretty healthy at the moment, but we got enough laps left for him to definitely fall off the cliff, as we saw with Limitless earlier. And we're now with Brosiek down in 9th position. A very poor race from him, you have to say, as he's now up into 8th and passes the guy that he sent into the wall at Powerpuff, and he now takes that position, and they're very close going up these corners. And I mean, Powerpuff looked like he was pushing him up there slightly, but no collisions this time round, which is good to see, as we now cut to the battle and the head of the train, KPTK, and he loses another end plate. That's got to be every single stint that I've seen KPTK on has now lost an end plate, which is going to cause him significant understeer. As you can see, he kind of tried to compensate and almost crashed into the wall again. But Fisi now all over the back of his teammate, but it doesn't matter how close you are behind, as we've seen in the past, that famous Mansell-Senna battle. I mean, I'm not old enough to say I've witnessed it live, but wow, I mean, we might have the same again, but with 3 cars.
Yeah, absolutely. This is really nail-biting stuff at this point. I really don't envy KPTK in the position that he's in. The good news for Fisi, though, if he does manage to get by his teammate here, he's going to have that very nice buffer in between himself and Ricky C. So he does need to get by him, certainly, but at the same time, once he does, it's going to be a little bit of a benefit for him, assuming Ricky C doesn't follow directly behind Fisi and take KPTK shortly after.
Here we go. Ricky going to have a go, possibly into the chicane. Fisi braking very late, but managing to stop it beautifully. And Fisi defending very well indeed as Citizen retires from the race. But KPTK actually slightly getting away at the moment, so Fisi not really using his tyres to the best of his ability, and Ricky, as you can see, right behind him. But I think, well, with KPTK and Fisi, they are not going to have any team orders, because the rivalry between these two is just intense. I mean, it's as high as Tiro Limitless and xMattyG, if not more. And I mean, there's not going to be any lifting of the accelerator, let's put it that way, as we now have a replay, and this is where Ricky is looking to the outside, and Fisi just about managing to stop the car. May have even scraped the wall to stop the car there, but he's just about managed to stop it and maintain fourth position. And we now have a replay of Citizen peeling off and just retiring. So that's fair enough. You know, he's probably just thought it was a bit of a danger to the other cars if he's going to be losing wings all the time. So he's out of the race, and we're now focusing on this intense battle. And actually, looking back to the past, I mean, you know, not that long ago was the Vettel. And I'm not sure who the other two were. I think maybe in Alonso and something else. You know, there's that red flag as well. Yes. I'm not sure if you saw that one, but yeah, that one I guess is a little bit more relevant because there was 3 cars involved in that one.
Yep, yeah, absolutely. As wow, look how close he's gaining to his teammate under braking for the chicane there. Fisi just seems really, really comfortable. Ricky C as well. The both of them seem very comfortable under braking as they're going into the Nouvelle chicane. They really seem to just have really dialed in their setup during practice, and it's really showing off here as they have loads of confidence. Even when there's a slight lockup, they're nailing it. They're hitting their apexes and looking great. Even on tires that aren't all that fresh, you can see Fisi's tires right here. They're not worn just yet. He's not going to be suffering as of yet. But it's KPTK though is suffering, and Fisi's got alongside. He's going to use his curves, and I think he just flies right by. And wow, what a move from Fisi. He takes advantage of his teammate's mistake and moves himself up into that podium position.
It's now crucial for Fisi to get away now, as he's got his teammate as a buffer who's lost both of his end plates by the looks of things. So he is going to be so slow on those older tyres as well. So Fisi has to make the most of this right now. But it looks like KPTK might be even coming back at Fisi slightly. But this is now the time that Fisi needs to push to get this third place if he wants it, which I'm sure he does. But Ricky C, from his perspective, needs to get past KPTK as quickly as possible. Otherwise, he's going to lose sight. Because KPTK is going to be getting slower and slower and slower towards the end of the race. But at the moment, he's maintaining fourth position, and Ricky not that close at the moment. But that can all change in a corner or two with the fact that KPTK's not got any end plates. But both of them going straight over the chicane almost. And you can see Fisi's starting to get away quite a bit now.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, even if KPTK does end up losing this position to Ricky C, it's still going to be his best finish of the season so far. So no matter what happens in the final 5 laps here, KPTK has had a fantastic race, and he should be really happy with this performance. He is right behind Fisi.
Yeah, his strategy really has been quite good. I mean, if he had both of his end plates intact, then maybe he might be still ahead of Fisi. But at the moment, he's in fourth, and as you say, you know, fifth place would still be a great result for him. But and I think, 16 seconds is limitless, and he's the guy who's got tyres that I'm pretty sure are going to fall off the cliff at any point. As we haven't actually seen a point of view from him for a while. Sorry, as it looks like Ricky is starting to struggle in the dirty air of KPTK and isn't really challenging him going into the tunnel. And we now have a replay, and this is where KPTK lost his other end plate and then allowed his teammate to go through, which I'm sure was a horrible sight for him, knowing their rivalry between each other and the fact that KPTK desperately wants to beat Fisi in the championship and vice versa, and the fact obviously they're teammates as well. But KPTK having to let him through. And, Fisi not really getting away enough to be comfortable, because, I mean, one mistake and you can find yourself behind these two guys again.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, that's just how tight this league is. I mean, that's how it is at almost every point of every race. If you make even a few seconds type of mistake, if you spin, I mean, you're going to lose a handful of positions. Maybe not that much in this race. It's a little bit more spread out in certain parts. It certainly is a very difficult race, and with the varying strategies, that's really spiced things up quite a bit. bit, but still, any sort of mistake whatsoever, and he could and there goes Ricky right up the inside. KPTK coming back at him, though. He's got the better exit out of the chicane. Oh, no. And he has hit the barrier on the side there, and it looks like, has he lost his entire front wing?
Yep, he has. KPTK losing his entire front wing on a tiny bit of barrier that was sticking out. So that is really unfortunate, but he still might be able to get away with 5th place. It really does depend where everybody else is. And, you know, with fresh tyres as well, he might well be able to push. But he comes into the pits now for a fresh front wing, and it looks like, well, his Justin, you're not racing, his Limitless, who now loses an M plate, and he looks like he cannot stop the car. And he's going to carry on. He's not going to pit, which he really could do. I mean, well, let's have a look. I mean, he's got enough of a gap, and it's not exactly a huge, sort of pit lane loss time. So Limitless really starting to try and kind of push the limits of the tyres, both with the options and the primes. And well, it looks like he's going to go for 5th place or broke at the moment.
Yeah, clearly his tires are not limitless because they are falling off, and he's got KPTK on fresh super softs right behind him now. I imagine he's going to be setting fastest laps of the race.
As we see a replay of Ricky C, brilliant move there, absolutely fantastic, and I'm pretty sure he would have had KPTK had it not been, well, even if KPTK hadn't have crashed, but because I mean with the fresher tyres as well, he had the inside line. But yeah, he just get caught on the wall and then just hit that, whatever that is, bollard or like just piece of wall, but loses his front wing, and that's really disappointing. And yet KPTK only 5 seconds behind Limitless, so surely he can still take 5th place away from this race. So that'll be a kind of, I guess he won't feel so bad that he lost his front wing, because I don't think he had a chance with Fisi or Ricky with the state of his tyres and front wing. As we now have Matty with well, 1 lap to go now, and it looks like, no, he's 11 seconds behind Rosberg now, losing a part of his end plate, I think. And oh gosh, we had a bit of a strange transition there, as Limitless now, we're on board with him. It's the final lap for Rosberg. It's 1 lap to go for Limitless, and you can just see how much he's struggling, and he's lost the car, and he's into the wall. Limitless now losing a position to KPTK and Minty and Broshek. He's down to 9th place now, is Limitless.
Leobot as well.
Out the wall. He cannot get out the wall at all. He's down to 10th now, as you can see. Leobot up to 9th, and oh right, xMattyG's footage cut out. That was why the bad transition I've just heard in my ear. And Limitless has actually retired from the race. That's it, Limitless, the championship contender, out of the Monaco Grand Prix. No points for him today, and that is very surprising, because I don't think he could have easily pitted and still got a few points, I think, Justin.
Yep, absolutely. I think he should have gone for the 3. I mean, it's all easy to say in hindsight. You know, obviously the strategy calls are easy once everything's already happened. But certainly switch it to a 3-stop after accidentally going on to that second set of options. And I mean, with the dry qualifying, it's possible that the options that were put onto his car may have even been scrub set. So they may have been starting at a lower tire life than full. They maybe were at 80-90%, something like that. So clearly it's just not been a great race for Limitless, and unfortunately no points.
That's very possible, as TRL Rosberg comes home for the victory. A brilliant race from him. He finally gets a victory in AOR. Unfortunately, we don't get a point of view from him, but what a great race from him. Monaco was always going to be a favourite for him with the pace that he was showing, and he takes the victory from Matty, who gets 2nd place. It's going to be a huge impact for the championship. 18 points for him. Fisi coming home with a brilliant 3rd position. He fought very hard for that. And Ricky, 4th place. Some absolutely brilliant overtakes by him. And you have to say he was probably one of the most entertaining drivers to watch, as Broshek hits Leobot. Leobot goes into the wall, and I'm pretty sure that was nothing Broshek could have done that time, as Leobot was already spinning. So Broshek should carry on probably for 7th place. KPTK does come home in 5th place, and looks like Minty's going to come home in a very quiet 6th. And does he set the fast lap? No, he doesn't. Set the 12 flat. But anyway, it's still a decent lap. But Broshek comes around the final corner to take 7th place. Just about. Looks like his tyres were almost... Oh, he's actually run out of fuel as well. But looks like he's just about going to get away with it. And Leobot looked like he came home in 8th. But Rosberg wins. And, well, I think it was coming, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, man. What a race! That was extremely dominant. If I'm not mistaken, is that the biggest gap for a win so far this season?
I'm pretty sure 15.2 seconds. Rosberg took the victory. That must be from xMattyG, taking a very crucial second place for him in the championship. Fisi Fan getting third position in the Williams, a brilliant result from him. Ricky C finishing in fourth. Who knows what could have been? Maybe he could have beaten Fisi, but finishing 6 seconds almost behind him in the end. KPTK finishing fifth, which I'm pretty sure he was set for after pitting so early and then losing both of his end plates. Tyrrell Minty finishing in sixth position in the Ferrari. Brocek finishing in seventh after a very controversial and incident-packed race for him, 1 minute 12 seconds back. Leobot finishing in 8th after that last lap collision. Powerpuff and Trace finishing 1 lap down, but both of those guys coming home with points. And Tyrrell Limitless, the big scalp, the big championship contender, not finishing the Monaco Grand Prix in 11th place. Contadin's also not finishing, with Citizen Exeter both joining them in the not finishing pile. And Tyrrell Maisie and Randy McScrandy were the 2 people not to start. Rosberg did the fastest lap with a 1:11.5. I'm pretty sure Fizzy set a 0.5 as well, but he took the fastest lap. And the Drivers' Championship, have a look at that now. 40 points xMattyG has a lead now over Limitless. And, well, you know, if Limitless starts to have a few more races like that, then the championship could easily slip away from him. But, you know, there's a lot of races still to go. It's only round 6, and I'm sure there are going to be many action-packed races to come. Rosberg coming up into third position now after that victory. Fizzy Fan moving up to fourth, and Randy McScrandy losing positions after not racing, down to fifth with 47 points. Minty also down to sixth, and Ricky down to seventh. Powerpuff staying in 8th with 30 points. KPTK, even after losing a few positions, moving himself up to 9th with 29 points, and his best result of the season. And having a look down the bottom, Tracy92, Brociek and TRL Macy are the 3 guys in the relegation zone at the moment. Brociek could have easily lifted himself out of there had he not had a few collisions and things like that in this race, because he was looking really good in the top sort of half of the field. And the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull running away still at the moment, despite Limitless not finishing with 212 points. The only moves at the moment were Marussia moving up to 4th and displacing Toro Rosso and Ferrari, and they moved down to 5th and 6th. But, you know, it doesn't look particularly exciting for first place in the Constructors' Championship, and possibly it could be xMattyG running away at the moment, but as I say, it's only round 6, isn't it, Justin?
Absolutely. xMattyG just needs to have a couple of races like Limitless just had, and that'll put the championship right back into contention. It's there's lots of racing still left to go this season.
So the next race is round 7. It's the British Grand Prix, a home circuit for many of the drivers, and I'm sure it's going to be more action-packed than it has been this afternoon. Probably more overtaking and less collisions and losing of end plates, but we shall see. Join us next week for that, and I'll just have to say thank you very much to Justin for commentating with me today.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure. I really enjoy it. Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time for the Silverstone British Grand Prix. Bye-bye.